Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 38th episode of the Ken Matthias Sports Podcast. I have play-by-play broadcaster and second-time guest for a part two, Brady Kudo. How are you, sir?
Doing just fine, Ken. How are you?
I'm doing all right, not bad. Nice little morning on this Tuesday morning. It's not super cold out, but yeah, let's
Right
pick up
now.
from what we were talking about. So,
Um, we had to like refresh. So we were going off of I know we had started of just like in like the 10,000 foot view of like the last 5 years.
hmm
And really the collegiate decision, like how that turned out. And going back to what I was saying earlier, I had something line up that didn't end up working out, which is really one of the main reasons why I went to the online degree, but I wouldn't change a thing. I mean I really wouldn't. Because the way I see it is too, and I was taught this early on, is like just like a house, just like a car, college
hmm
investment. So you need to be smart about your investments. Are you going to go to the $200,000 school to get the same degree as you would the $40,000 school? Um, why would you? That's literally like you're better off like putting lighter fluid on money and lighting it on fire. That's the
Speaking,
way I see it.
yeah,
That's the way I see it. So,
because you're going
yeah,
to be in debt for the rest of your life,
right. I'm like,
probably.
it's an experience. I understand it's an experience, but
Yeah,
you
but
know
you're going to
what?
be in debt. You're not going to buy a house, a nice car,
Exactly.
have a family like right
Exactly.
away.
I'm like, there are plenty of other of these quote unquote experiences that
hmm
you can get elsewhere. So I understood the arguments why I wasn't buying them. Um, I think that's just how you have to view it, especially now with like people my age, where we're the first ones where we're seeing six-figure college bills.
Yeah.
My parents weren't, or my mom wasn't seeing that. People a little younger than my mom weren't seeing that. We're really the first, the late Gen Zers, I guess. We're the actually no, the early Gen Z. We're the first starting to see those massive college bills. So we're essentially trying to tell, like my brother, who's the generation younger and the whatever the new one is now, like,
hmm
hey, dude, you need to treat this like a house, right? Are you gonna go get the mansion? So the Harvard, the whatever, the
Yeah.
great school, the expensive school, or are you gonna get the nice like colonial, right? Nothing wrong with colonials.
No, there's beautiful homes.
Right. What are you gonna do? You're gonna get the nice colonial in the country,
hmm
the calm, like
Two-car
the
garage, living
UMass Dartmouth,
room.
like the I
Yeah.
love UMass Dartmouth. So like the
Yeah.
the UMass Dartmouth. Um, use this. That's what
Yeah.
I stress to other people
No,
um
absolutely. You have
that
to be
don't
smart.
know is hey, the I don't know. School A looks great, but what is it per year? 70,000. All right, let's maybe not.
Jesus,
Let's not.
no.
Let's not. Like you can apply. Go right ahead.
hmm
Apply. Like just for the sake of saying you applied. But maybe let's not make that number one because I don't know if I mentioned here, but I had a I will never forget this. I had a teacher tell me. Now, she and her husband, they didn't struggle. Let's just put it that way. Teaching was her second career. They regardless, they did not struggle. So we're talking about school. I was still undecided about everything. And she goes, "Can I tell you something?" I said, "Absolutely." College is not a financial only decision or a finances only decision.
hmm
I was like, what? Like the face I made was awful. Like if I could go back in time and recreate the face I made, I 100% would. Um, because after I was like, why would you give her like a gross look? I'm like, she literally tried to help you. But at the same time, what do you mean it's not just a financial? My daughter, so she had a daughter. wicked smart kid. Got a full ride to school down in Connecticut. I didn't push her to go. I didn't tell her to go. She went to some other school, whatever. In my head, I'm like, okay, it's much easier for you to say
Hmm.
than it is for us. Went to another teacher talking, whatever, told her that same thing, and she was like, "What is she talking about?" I was like, "I have no idea." She was like, "No, no, 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 no. You times are changing. It is absolutely a financial decision." So again, like I said, I don't regret a thing. I really don't. Um, but I don't know. We'll see what these next few years bring.
I know it's been a little bit, but you got to refresh my memory. What was the school you did? I'm sorry.
I go to Southern New Hampshire University.
Oh yeah, that's always promoted on TV. I want to say
Right. And it's
advertised or
great.
commercial. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
it's great. It's so easy to use. I got to earlier in the month. I think it was two basketball games on a Thursday at
Hmm.
St. Anselm College, and then I had a hockey game at St. Anselm on Friday. So when I got my schedule, I was like, all right, you know what? Let me find a cheap hotel. I'm like, why am I driving up to drive down just to get up in the morning, drive back up again, and drive back down? I'm like, that's stupid. I'm like, maybe all right, is it gonna be a little more than like doing that? Probably, but let me just do it, right? I found something that wasn't terribly expensive. And the Friday during the day I had a bunch of time to kill. So it's like Southern New Hampshire's campus is in Manchester. Let me go see it.
Hmm.
Uh it was it was odd, like the way it was like the main they had campus of like dorms out there, some buildings,
Hmm.
classrooms. I don't even know, but it was like all right, but like when you're driving again, that was off to the right. Off to the left was all the athletic stuff in like a dorm. It was odd.
Was it like a smaller campus?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so I was like, okay, this I've never seen a school constructed this way where I've seen the athletics in one, excuse me, I've seen the athletics in one part of campus,
Hmm.
but I've never seen something where it's like you drive off. Do you know what I mean? So it was odd, but I give them credit. They're able to recruit very well. Their women's basketball program I know is very, very successful. I think the baseball team as well is
What are they?
baseball
Three,
program
four
two,
divisions? Two?
two.
Oh, okay. They're higher up than that.
They're
Okay.
Division two.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
okay. Yeah,
NE,
that's not bad.
NE10. Um, I think it was their baseball program and their women's basketball. I think I saw were the most.
Do they have football too? No,
No,
no. I figured that. So it's
NE10.
basketball, baseball,
NE,
probably
yeah,
hockey.
the NE10 sponsors football. I know St. Anselm has a football
Yeah.
program. Um, I couldn't tell you who else in the conference off the top of my head. Has my first year working with St. A's and
Yeah.
within Division Two. I'm still trying to get used to even like it's gonna sound silly, but it's true. Like the pronunciations of some universities, like talking about Adelphi University. I thought it was Adelphi, and then I was talking about it with I was like, oh, Adelphi, Adelphi. I was like, Adelphi. They were like, yeah,
Adelphi.
like just telling you so like you don't say it on air. I was like, no, 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 I appreciate it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
please tell me. Uh,
Hmm.
so just and that's like what we were going back to last time. That's what makes our industry so great is people willing to help people pulling for people.
Hmm.
They like hey, Delphi. Well, no, that's the way I want it actually. Catch me when I'm wrong and help
It,
me out because I don't
it,
want to sound like the dummy on air that has no idea what he's talking about.
it must be hard for some of the players too, because the little I did it for, Wareham last year with boys and girls, I'm like some of the opposing players, I'm like, I just want to make sure I'm not sounding like a total dumbass on air. And I'm like, all right, yeah, like you want to make sure, like I had to check with my boss. I'm like, hey, this person's last name, like how do they say it? If it's not our people, like the opposing team, like if whoever it was, and I'm like, but I totally understand where you're coming from because you feel like a total idiot if you say
Hmm.
somebody's name wrong and then you get bad comments on if it's on YouTube or you just kind of get backlash on it. So I totally agree.
Well, it depends. I mean, in the college, like we're lucky for. I mean, I did a basketball game a few weeks ago, and it was College Sports Communicators Week, and I gave the home team's communicators a shout out. And I did it because it is like those gals work. And at least
Hmm.
at the school I was doing for, it's two ladies that run the sports information department. They work.
Oh,
Um,
for sure. Yeah, yeah. It's not an
they
easy job.
work. Um, and the paycheck doesn't always reflect it.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, they'll go in for, 8 to 5 as normal. Um,
But then you got to work
but
around games and stuff like
but
that
oh,
too.
but we've got a hockey game at 6.
Yeah.
So I gotta go to that hockey game. I gotta leave the office early, go to that hockey game.
Hmm.
Uh, I've got to then after the hockey game, I gotta score the hockey game. So that ends at 8. Then I gotta write my story on it. So I'm not just working 8 to 5. I'm working
No,
like
like 8 to
like
10 or 8 to 11.
7:30 to like
Yeah.
11.
Yeah,
Uh,
basically. Yeah.
so it's one of those careers that yeah, it's not done out of money. I mean, if you want money, you go be a scientist.
Hmm.
It's done out of I love being around sports.
Yep.
Um, so I'm thankful for those people because those people make me look smart.
Hmm.
So be like, you sound great. How do you know that? I'm like, hey, it's not me.
Yeah.
It's athletic communications. It's the SID. Oh, what's that? And you educate them, and they're now even more intrigued as to how the engine runs, right?
Hmm.
So I'm grateful for them. Um, Normally, one, because at the lower levels they hire me. Number two, they provide me with that information. And what they always say is if you've got trouble trying to figure out a guy's name and it's the pronunciation's not on the roster, and try to like talk to a coach. Hey, but if for some reason you can't, don't sweat it because they cannot get mad at you for something they did not provide you. It's like, yeah, true. Um, Thankfully, I've never had negative from the public thrown at me. Um, I'm sure I know how I am as a sports fan in my home. I can only imagine how some people are as sports fans in their homes.
Yep.
But which is totally fine. That's the
We
consequence.
care. We're passionate. Trust me. I'm
Right.
the
It's the
same. I'm a
consequence of
sore
your own
loser.
home. You
I'm a
can hate
sore
on me all
loser.
you want.
Yeah.
Uh, Although, all right, I did actually have two two people online. Or no, it was one. There was one on Facebook, and I think I don't know. It was nothing to do work related. It was weird that like bashed me. It was like over racing, and it wasn't even. I mean, it was over racing, but it wasn't like work related. It's
Was
so
it
this guy.
something you said? No.
I have no idea,
No.
but this guy proceeds to go in the comments and say you're gay. First of all, it's YOU apostrophe RE, not YOUR.
Yeah.
Second of all, I'm like, why are we still, it's 2025. Why are we using that word as an insult? I
Yeah.
can't stand it. So block. Twitter, Twitter,
Oh
X,
God. Yeah.
whatever it is now. Uh, I do. So there's a page called Friars Capital, and does a bunch of stuff about Providence College basketball. And start this year. We've been friends for a couple of years. We just met through. I think we met like at the Abbey. Like he recognized me or something.
Hmm.
I never knew what he looked like. Um, and started doing like these spaces like once every few weeks just to recap like different points of the season. I like it. Sit, talk ball, hear the fans. It's good.
Yeah.
Somebody after a space did not agree with the take I had. So he proceeds to go in the replies. He goes, "Yo, man, you would witch." And I was like, "Block, I don't need you. Get out of my life.
Yeah.
Get out of my life." I'm like, "Why? Why? Did you feel better? Like, does that boo-boo feel better? Like, I don't." So again, I don't
You're
know what
gonna
goes
get
into the
haters all
confidence
the
of
time.
people's homes,
Yeah.
um, but again, like you gotta understand, like it is something yeah, you just learn.
Hmm.
People that do that, they want to be in the position you're in, you
Yeah,
know?
of course they're jealous. Yeah, no, I hear
Right.
you.
they're not doing it because they actually hate you. I mean, they may, but like they're the real reason, the reason that they'll never confess is they want to be where you are. So the quicker you learn that, and that's life.
Hmm. Yeah, not just
That's
on social
life.
media, it's just
That's
life.
not
Yeah.
that's not sports media.
Yeah.
That's um so the biggest thing I preach, especially like in a theatrical setting, like working with younger kids, which I love doing in my spare time. That's the biggest thing I can tell kids, especially like middle school kids. I love working with middle school students. And it's weird because that's the age group that's like it's like the new like terrible twos and threes. It's middle school. I'm like, I love working with those kids because they'll listen to you, right? They're not oblivious, they're not naive,
Hmm.
they listen to you, but you could have like real conversations with them. Like you don't have to like boys and girls, we are listen like no, I don't need to do that with a
Yeah, you
13.
could talk
I can
normal,
I can
yeah.
talk like this. I can say crap and ooh, like we're not gonna get that, right?
Yeah.
So um I love working with those kids. And one day I remember kid was like upset about something. And I was like, listen, I'm like, a kid's making fun of you because they want to be in the position you're in. I'm like,
Hmm.
so quicker you learn to that negative stuff from people that don't care, I don't want to say care about, but like people that don't matter as much to you as like your parents or your grandparents, the sooner you learn to just do this, your
It's
life is
tough. It's
your
tough for
life is
many
gonna be so
people
much better.
though. Yeah.
And I get it, but it's
Yeah.
hard. I'm like, I know it's hard. I'm not saying
Hmm.
it's snap your fingers, but the quicker you learn that, and it may take days, it may take weeks, it may take years. Like that's fine, but try. That's all
Hmm.
you gotta do is just try. If you try to just let it, yep, you're gonna just you're gonna be fine. So I think that's the biggest, like if I die tomorrow, that's the biggest life lesson I could give anybody is quicker you learn to let negativity from the outside world go in one ear and out the other. Your life will be more simple.
Staying on the middle school topic, how many kids have you talked to, boys, girls, that are interested in sports media, like the younger generation below us and stuff like that? Because I don't know if it's dying over time or kids still want to do it at 13, 15 years old while playing sports. It's like, hey, it's a second career. Like, I just want
Oh,
your opinion on that, like middle
I
school
mean,
kids.
at least in the Swansea community, I mean, there was two kids I heard when I gave up my spot at Case. There were two kids I heard that because when I was advertising for it, I was like I started when I was 13. This was
Hmm.
an opportunity for a high school student who may just want to try it. I'm not saying you're gonna have all this experience, right? It's high school at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, not saying you're gonna have all this experience. That's the idea. We're like opposite of the rest of the world. We want to take you in with no experience. Um,
A lot of places want experience though.
right.
They
Which I
want you
mean,
to see a reel and stuff like that, and that's something I've lacked on, and it's unfortunate because if you're looking to get into the news industry or whatever it is, like they want to see you with a reel, and I'm like, I don't know if it's just laziness or I just don't know how to do it or I just want to put the effort into it, but that'd probably help my case for something.
I think yeah. I mean, and also it's oh, I got to do it.
Yeah, I got to do it. That's
Like
the thing. It's like
oh, I got
the
to do it.
itch and the drive. Like, if you want this, Scanny, you got to do it. And it's like, I do want it, but it's like, I don't want somebody to do it for me. But just long story short, that's where I was going
Yeah.
with that.
I do mine the end of like an academic year.
And it's pretty easy to do, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
But
putting
it's
videos
it's
together. I've
it's
attempted it.
finding it's going back. I know I don't watch like a bunch of games in full, but it's going
Yeah.
back and like, oh, is there anything from this past one that I can
Hmm.
I'm gonna keep these two things. All right, well then I gotta find XXXXX. And then it's like going back, like, all right, there's like priorities. Like for me, like for this upcoming reel, like Division 1 athletics is gonna be the I guess the priority. Um, so going through those, all right, what's good? And then, all right, what's next? Well, all right, the couple D2 college hoops games I did, those are pretty good, I felt. Go back and watch those and then find what's good. So
Hmm.
it's it is a process, but I think if you break it up, I will never sit there for 3 hours and just bang it out. I will do it in chunks. I will do it day by day by day. Um,
What do you usually use for that too? Is it like some
I've
editing
used I've used iMovie just because I was too
iMovie?
lazy to pay for Premiere, and
Yeah,
then
that's too expensive. I've had a little taste of Premiere, but
I found well, Case High School paid for mine for a little
yeah,
bit, which was great.
nice. Yeah.
And then I found a student rate for $20 a month. I'm like,
Wow.
hey, I don't use this every day, but I use it enough.
Hmm.
I'll just get it. So I think I'm going to switch over to that.
I, iMovie, that's a good idea too.
Yeah, it doesn't look bad.
Yeah.
It's easy. Yeah, I go right on my computer. It's easy to use.
Yeah.
So I want to find. I was actually talking to the technology teacher I saw at Case High School. I saw him the other day, and I was like, hey, I was like, he's new. And the tech teacher I had, he was awesome. He's he's an entrepreneur right
Hmm.
now. He just got out of teaching. And I said, and this new tech I've known for years. I said, Colin, I said, um, what Tommy used to do. I said he would bring in these speakers from his time, and like he used to work in Hollywood as a as
Wow.
a writer, as a producer. So we had all these connections from LA, and he would bring in some people to speak, and it wasn't even sports related. It was just life. It was I get to interview one of them. Like he picked me to like he was like, hey, can you when this one comes in, we're gonna do like a mock interview. Can you interview him? I was like, yeah, no problem. I loved it. Loved interviewing him, loved listening. We had like a seminar going at one point. Absolutely loved it. We had a couple of those. Absolutely always looked forward to outside speakers. Think school really opened up their checkbooks for Chris Herron. Chris came in,
He did a lot of that. I think he spoke at my school too.
absolutely
Yeah.
loved it. Um, I mean, I've known him for a few years. I got to meet him. Afterwards, I did his brother's like high school, middle school basketball show. It's called the Howard Shootout. Uh,
Hmm.
so I got to meet Chris afterwards. We had a nice conversation just about life and like my mental health struggles,
Hmm.
whatever. How he, what he does. I think it's awesome. He's such a good guy. Um, and I just ate everything up that he said. Um, he's such a good speaker, but I was one of the only ones that loved going to the theater or the auditorium, listening to somebody come in from whatever. And if it somewhat piqued my interest, I was in. If it had to,
Hmm.
I don't know, some college, whatever, I had no interest, then no, I'm not going to sit there and like, yeah, I'll look like I'm listening, but I'm not. But Chris Herron, yeah, you had me at hello. Um, so I'm talking to the new teacher. I'm like, he used to do these speaker sessions. I'm not saying I'm like, all that mighty, but like I like to think I've tasted a little bit of success. And he was like, no, like you give yourself credit. Like you definitely have. And that's my big thing. Like I will anybody that knows me knows they will try to bring things up and I'm like, shush. Talk to me when I have a contract. Shush. Um, so I was like, I gotta be honest. I was like, I've thought about doing a sports media unit just because it's so big right now and it's so popular. I'm like, do it. Just do it. Because I told him, I was like, if you need anything, let me know. And he was like,
Who's
what?
this,
Like
Chris?
equipment? Colin. He was
Colin,
like,
sorry.
and he was like, what, like equipment? Like he was like, what do you have? I was like, well, I've got some of that too. I was like, I don't know what you're doing in sports media because like there's a lot of kids that are getting into like sports management
Yeah,
and
that's
a
the
lot of
route they're going. Yeah.
right, and a lot of kids that are I see it in our community that are getting into like photography, which I think is
Hmm.
great, but
Yeah.
they go the sports route. So I think he's starting to see it like, oh, he was just telling me like I'm thinking about like a sports media unit. I'm like, let me know. Like
Yeah.
I'll go in for a day, for an hour. I'll talk. I mean, have I learned a lot? Yes. Have I gotten to the level I want to get at? Absolutely not. Take the little bit of what I've learned it passed on to a kid who may have no idea where to start.
Hmm.
That's okay. And I think that's the biggest thing I hear is I don't know where to start. I'm like the
It's a wide
biggest
variety. That's why.
right. I remember a couple years ago, I had a kid reach out from Arizona, and I don't know where he found me, but
Probably Twitter or something.
no, it was Instagram. I don't know
Oh,
how he
Instagram.
knew, I don't know how he
Wow.
got to know me, is my point. Um, and he had messaged me, and he's like, I I wanted to get into broadcasting. I asked my high school about it, and I got to get on the mic. He played volleyball too.
Oh, wow.
So I think like that spring season was tough for him. But he was like, I'm graduating. I want to get out of Arizona. Like, so point being is this kid who ended up coming here, coming to Rhode Island, did some stuff for a network I was at in Rhode
R-
Island.
Really? So he moved from Arizona to Rhode
Well, he
Island?
had family in Rhode Island,
Oh, okay. Yeah. Wow.
which I think kind of just helped that move.
For
Point is, it
sure.
now like he's one of my best friends, and we just talked yesterday for a little bit. So
Oh, wow.
it's another one like he didn't really know where to start. I mean, like he knew like he had started, but like he wanted to advance, and I get
Hmm.
it. He didn't know where to go. So I'm like, wow, you of all people, you, you know what I mean?
You
Like
kind of feel like honored in a way, like
at the end
somebody
of the day,
turning
like,
to you
hey,
for
that's
advice.
that's cool. Like, even with the whole stupid Sports Center thing, I'm like, what are the
Hey,
odds?
that was badass. What number
Odds
were you? Number one? No, was
one.
it one? Yeah, it was one.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I
I
was
seen
like,
that.
what are the chances?
That was awesome.
Um, that was weird. That play happened. I hit the truck button on my headset. I said, just so you know, I said this is before I like contacted anybody from the school or whatever to send this in. I said, "Hey guys, just so you know, we are submitting that to Sports Center." I was like, I'm not waiting for permission. I'm like, this is what's
No,
happening.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't even know
Figure
how
it
to
out.
go about that, honestly, how to do that.
So, all right. So I didn't know. I knew the general steps of the couple times at Dartmouth. We submit a couple things over a couple play of a couple games I've done. We didn't get on, but basically, there's a few ways to do it. The easiest way to do it, in my eyes, is through X. You upload the play,
Tag
brief
them.
des- brief description of the play. You have to use hashtag SC Top 10
I see top 10.
and then at ESPN assign desk. I
Hmm.
don't know what those people do. I think they're the ones that pick it.
Yeah, the assignment desk, yeah.
So I was like, all right. So we submitted it. I'm like, hey, let's see what happens. I thought it was pretty impressive. Now, the kid who was the dunker,
Hmm.
right? Um, he's actually from Bourne.
Oh, wow.
Played it, played at the College of St. Rose, which was D2 in the NA10. They shut down, the school shut down,
Oh,
moved to
wow.
Dartmouth. A couple years ago. I think this is his second season with UMass Dartmouth. I was his first career double double. Like I figure like he's 6'11". He's got
Hmm.
so much potential. He's only averaging like 6 and 6 a game. I'm
But
like,
still.
oh, but the kid's got so much potential.
Yep.
I mean, you could just see it. So I'm like, you know what? Hey, he's due for a breakout game. Like he's gonna be really good later this year, or even for that senior season, he's gonna be really, really good. Um, the kid he dunked on is the nation's leading rebounder. That
Damn.
kid, Usman Korama, is from Woonsocket, Rhode Island. Averages 24 and 15 a game.
Wow.
He had 28 and 20 that night, and he had the game winning shot. Um, Great game. I mean, I gotta be honest, I thought Rick was gonna blow UMass Dartmouth out. I thought it was gonna be a 20-point game. It's gonna be over at the half. No, I mean, it was a 6-point game at the half. UMass Dartmouth, they just stayed in it and they just couldn't pull away. So we submitted it. I'm like, all right, let's see what happens. So 10, 8, said blah, 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 blah. I'm starting to see a couple other dunks, and I'm like, all right, was ours really better than like Obi Toppin going up and under or Jared Allen? maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So
Oh, you're talking about NBA guys too,
right,
so yeah.
the second play was D3 basketball. I'm like, don't tell me this is the day D3 basketball gets on,
Yeah.
and it's not me, right? There was like Yeshiva and some other school in New York. Great play. I mean, kid like made a half court three, like for the win.
Hmm.
Like it was a great play. So number one, so Ryan Smith says, "Okay, take a listen to this." And in my head, I'm like, maybe. And then I see it. I went, "Oh my God." Texted
That's
our
that's
SID,
freaking awesome.
Amy, we're number one. We got on. We're number one. She was like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, go look."
That's
Like a
awesome.
kid on Christmas morning. Texted the family group chat. Wait, what? My poor grandmother. I don't know what that means. Call me. I'm like, oh dear God. Now this woman in my 6 years or 5 years, however long I've been doing this, 5 years, never missed a game. Never missed a game. Never missed a race. Never missed anything. And so I don't know what I'd do without her. I really wouldn't. So I call her. Hi. Hi. What are you talking about? I'm confused. Now she's not like she knows sports, right? Like
Yeah.
she's my new favorite story of hers. 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, she's talking, oh, how was your day? Just having our normal, like twice, like once every 2 days conversation. She was asking me about something about PC. Like I got her into college basketball. Loves PC. Like she goes to a PC game
Hey, they got a good
by
product,
herself, could be with
even
me.
though this year they've been so-so, but
Right. But
yeah.
she's as happy as a pig in crap. She just loves it.
Hmm.
We ended up going to the game Saturday night. I grabbed a couple tickets. I was coming straight from somewhere else. So I didn't have time to like change. So I was in like nicer clothes. I get to her house. She's at Providence College. Sweatshirt, Providence College shirt, pants. My mom was there too. My mom was like, she's more PC than you are. I'm like, well, I wasn't gonna go home just to change to come out. I'm like, no, I look fine. Like, let's
Yeah.
um so she was, I was watching a game last night. I'm like, yeah. I said, who? I think it was just like the Monday after Christmas. Like nobody was playing. I'm like, who'd you watch? I'm trying to think of like who played. She was like Duquesne, and I'm like, the heck you watching Duquesne for? Like they're like bottom of the barrel in like the A10. I'm like, why are you? Now A10's a great league, but I'm like, why
Hmm.
are you watching them? Well, it was on, but the Cleary University. I'm like,
Who?
who?
Yeah, who?
She goes, it was a blow. I turned it off at the first half. I think Duquesne was up by 25. I'm like, now I'm Googling. She goes, I think they're up by 25. I'm like, yeah, I'd hope so. Clear's in the NAIA. What's that? I'm like, that's my point. Why are you watching that game? Well, it was on. I'm like, just because college
What the
basketball is
hell
on.
was it on? Like CBS Sports Network
ESPN
is
Plus.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah,
My ESPN Plus.
they
Which
have everything. They legit have everything.
I'm like, I gave you the ESPN Plus for not that.
Yeah.
But hey, whatever makes you happy.
Hmm.
Um, so that was just one of those like, oh my God.
Yeah, we have that too here, and it's like a bunch of college games mostly,
Yeah.
and then obviously the national broadcast,
Yep.
NFL, NBA, whatever will go on there. But
But-
I know we're short on time, so we got like
Shut up.
under 2 minutes. But
Am I the only one that you run into this problem with? Or is it-
no, no, sometimes others too, because I'm like crap. Like I like to say something off air and stuff like that, and like thank everybody. But if you got any final thoughts, we got like a minute 43 and
No, I mean,
change.
hey, thanks for always for bringing me on.
Yeah, no
If
problem.
you're
Anytime,
watching
dude.
this, if you're watching this and you want to break into the industry, I'm
Reach
not
out to
hard
him.
to find. I'm not hard to find.
Twitter,
I give
Instagram,
myself
give you shout outs out there.
I make myself visible for a reason. So if you're watching this, you're like, oh, I want to try. We there people are willing to help people, I guess is the
Hmm.
best I can say. So
Absolutely. But appreciate it, Brady. Thank you so much.
thank you as always.